Welcome to our channel. We have new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you haven't done it already, please subscribe. This video starts right now. Hello guys, the name of today's storybook is Toy Story of Terror.
One stormy night, Bonnie and her mom were on a road trip. Bonnie's toys were in the trunk of the car watching a scary movie. "Boring," said Mr. Potato Head. But Mr. Pricklepants was a scary movie expert. Patience. All good horror films start slowly. Then, bump! The car blew a tire and the toys went flying. All the toys were okay except Jessie. She was trapped in a toolbox. "We have to get her out," said Woody. The toys quickly opened the toolbox and found Jessie inside, shaking with fear. "What's the matter with Jessie?" whispered Trixie. "She was abandoned in a box for years," explained Mr. Potato Head. The car rolled to a stop at a roadside motel. "One of the most common locales for a horror film," said Mr. Pricklepants. Since it was too late for someone to come fix the tire, Bonnie and her mom checked in for the night and were soon fast asleep. Mr. Potato Head climbed out of the toy bag to explore. "The first to leave usually gets it," warned Mr. Pricklepants. But he, Rex, and Trixie followed. Buzz and Woody went after them. Not wanting to be left alone, Jessie went too. A few minutes later, Buzz and Woody had found everyone except Mr. Potato Head. "And so it begins," said Mr. Pricklepants. "Maybe this place is haunted." "Everyone knows ghosts aren't real," said Woody. "There has to be a rational explanation," said Buzz. The toys began to search for Mr. Potato Head, and suddenly, "Ew! I stepped in something!" yelled Rex. Buzz dashed over to taste the slime. "Disgusting," he said. Meanwhile, Trixie had followed a slime trail to a vent, and she fell in. As the toys peered in after her, Mr. Pricklepants spoke up. This would be the threshold. Every movie has one. Once the heroes enter, there's no turning back. Before the gang could lower themselves into the vent, a scared Rex came running and knocked them all in. The crawl space was dark and creepy. The toys heard a noise up ahead. "That way," said Woody. As they walked through cobwebs, Mr. Pricklepants said this would be the part where the characters get separated. Then, picked off one by... He was suddenly snatched into the shadows. Then Rex disappeared too. Buzz, Woody, and Jessie ran away screaming. They soon hit a dead end. Something scurried past them. Buzz turned on his laser light. "It's staring right at us," said Jessie. "It's Mr. Potato Head's arm," said Woody. They followed the arm up through another passage and down into a motel bathroom where Buzz and Woody were snatched. Terrified, Jessie huddled in the bathroom. Suddenly, someone pulled her beneath the sink. "Quiet, soldier. You'll lead them right to us," said an army toy missing one hand. He had been living the life of a fugitive. "Combat Carl's seen things. Horrible things," he continued. "Are you Combat Carl?" asked Jessie. She didn't see anyone else around. Just then, growling came from above. "We've got to move," said Combat Carl. "What? No," said Jessie. As she tried to catch up, Combat Carl was dragged away by a mysterious creature. Jessie hid in the bathtub. She heard something panting and snarling. Then the creature clawed through the shower curtain. It was a large green iguana, and it gave Jessie a slimy lick. Yuck! Grabbing Jessie in its jaws, the iguana carried her to the motel manager's office. "Excellent find, Mr. Jones," said the motel manager, when the iguana dropped Jessie into a basket. The manager took a photo of her, posted it on a website, and locked Jessie in a glass cabinet. He was stealing toys and selling them online. "Jessie!" cried Buzz, Woody, and the rest of Bonnie's toys. They were locked in the cabinet too, along with a bunch of other toys, including Combat Carl. Nice to see you made it here in one piece, cowgirl. Combat Carl would like to introduce you to his 1/3 scale counterpart, Combat Carl Jr. The toys were trying to unlock the cabinet door when the office computer suddenly chimed. Woody had been sold! The manager rushed into the office, took Woody out of the cabinet, and packed him in a box. What started out as a classic horror film has turned into something more of a tragedy, said Mr. Pricklepants. A moment later, the computer chimed again. This time, Jessie had been sold. The manager had just taken Jessie out of the cabinet when a tow truck driver arrived. The manager put Jessie down and left to help the driver. "I'll get Woody," she whispered to the other toys. She had to hurry. The mail was going to be picked up soon. But before Jessie could free Woody, a mail carrier arrived and loaded the box onto her truck. "What'll we do? Now we'll all end up in a box," said Jessie, worried. "Not us, you," said Combat Carl. He told her she had to get into a box so she could get onto the truck and free Woody. "No way," replied Jessie. I can't." When Combat Carl gets stuck in a jam, he says to himself, "Combat Carl never gives up. Combat Carl finds a way," said Combat Carl. "Now say it." "Jessie never gives up. Jessie finds a way," Jessie repeated. She carefully snuck by a sleeping Mr. Jones to the counter and opened a different sealed box. Out came a giant robot. "Transitron free?" the robot asked. "How can I ever repay you?" Transitron quickly helped Jessie into the box. Inside the box, Jessie began to panic. It felt like the walls were closing in. "Jessie never gives up," she said, breathing heavily. She felt around and found a paperclip. "Jessie finds a way!" She used the paperclip to slice the box open, then climbed out and freed Woody. Woody and Jessie snuck back into the motel office and froze when they heard voices. It was Bonnie and her mom. They were checking out at the front desk, and Jessie and Woody still had to save their friends. Jessie had an idea. She ran toward a curtain that separated the front desk from the manager's office. Just then, Mr. Jones pounced on her from behind, locking his jaws around her legs and dragging her back toward the cabinet. "Jessie!" cried Buzz. Jessie struggled with the iguana, reaching for the curtain as he pulled her into the office. She kicked Mr. Jones in the stomach, and he burped out Combat Carl's hand. Then Jessie caught sight of Mr. Potato Head's arm in the iguana's mouth. She climbed in and grabbed it. Jessie used the arm to yank on the curtain. It fell to the floor, revealing the manager's office and all the toys that had been stashed there. "My toys!" shouted Bonnie. The manager tried to explain, but Bonnie's mom knew exactly what he was up to. "I really should call the police," she said as Bonnie collected her toys and packed them safely in her bag. Meanwhile, Combat Carl came up with a plan to ship the rest of the motel toys to their rightful owners. "You did it, Jessie," said Buzz when the toys were back in the trunk of the car. "You saved us all." Jessie smiled. "Jessie never gives up," she said. "Jessie finds a way." "Well, Woody wants to say thanks," said Woody, laughing. "Group laughter," said Mr. Pricklepants. "A sure sign that the worst is behind us, and the movie is just about over." "So this is the ending?" asked Rex. "Well, yes," said Mr. Pricklepants.
Thank you for watching our videos. We really appreciate your support. If you haven't done it already, please subscribe. Here are some videos we thought you might like. We hope to see you soon. Bye for now.